Nothing quite says summer like grilled corn, but there's a great confusion as to what is the best way and what's not the best way, and believe me, everyone has their own way, and to be honest, it's probably the best for them. But today we're going to talk about three basic methods and the advantages and disadvantages and why you might choose one over the other. The first one is basically just take the corn like this. And a lot of folks will take it just like this and put it on the grill. The problem with doing that is that you then get all these silks in there, which have to come off at some point in time, and it's usually hot. So there's some disadvantage there. So what we're going to do is a little variation on that. I've taken the corn and I've actually pulled down the husk so that just gently all the way around so that I can get down and remove the silk from it. And just pull it off like you usually would, and then fold it back up, just like this, and then I tied it with a string, or a piece of twine, or some people suggest just like a twist tie that you get at the supermarket. Make sure that it's not too long because you don't want it dangling down into the flames. Then you soak it in water for about 30 minutes to an hour, depending on how much time you have, how long it takes your grill to get hot. At that point, you've got a piece of corn here that's completely filled with water, and the corn is going to steam. The water on the outside is also going to help protect it from drying out. Now, this would then go directly onto the grill, and we'll check and see what we've got going over there in just a minute. But first we're going to look at number two. Now, the advantage to that method, as I said, is that it's going to steam it so that it doesn't dry out. Works real well for corn that you want to taste like it's boiled, because to be honest, that husk all around, it's going to prevent any of the smoke flavor or much of the smoke flavor from penetrating into the corn. What we're going for here is something that is cooked all the way through, not dried out, but still has some of that smoke flavor. Otherwise, you may as well boil it inside in a pot. The second method is sort of a variation on that theme. What I've done is pull off the husk again down to the very last layer. Now in this case, we're going to leave the silk on, and we'll have to come back and remove that, but we need it there to help keep the corn moist because we're not going to soak it. Now if you had corn that you knew was super sweet, that you knew was very young, very tender, you could go ahead and husk the whole thing and put it directly onto the grill. But if you don't have those guarantees, or if you don't know if there's a lot of worms in there, it's better to go ahead and find some way that you can pull it down, because you're going to want to get the worms out before it gets to the table and not when it hits there. This then is going to go onto the grill. Either one of these methods you're going to want to cook on a fairly low heat, medium to low, and they'll take, again, if there's a lot of variation on this, the time on corn varies again with how tender it is, whether it's super sweet, how long you've had it, even if it is super sweet. Somewhere between 8 to 30 minutes, to be honest. The range is that wide. So you're going to have to check it. You can prick it with a fork or the end of a knife. If it pricks easily, then you know it's done. These again are ready to go on the grill at this point, and you'll know when they're about done because they're going to start to pull back here a little bit from the ends. Now the method that I like best, because it's a kind of a combination, you can either put these directly into a grill bag or wrap them in foil. This is just a big grill bag that you can buy at the supermarket where you buy aluminum foil. And you can do them just like they are for the full 20 to 30 minutes, turning it over from time to time. But I've got all the husks off and all the silk off, and particularly if you're feeding kids, you don't want to have them working with something hot. So make sure that it's in one layer. I'm going to splash a little bit of water in there just to make sure it stays even more moist. Doesn't need much, just a little bit. And fold it down. As I said, you can put that on the grill for the full time, turning it over every 5 minutes or so. Make sure you don't pack it too tight because you want room for the steam to come up around it and help steam it. Now you can leave it that way. My recommendation, however, is rather than just leave it in here the whole time, is when you get it down to, if you're going to cook it for 30 minutes or aiming for 30 minutes, take it out the last 5 minutes or so, maybe at 20 minutes, and at that point, just set it directly on the coals, and you'll be able to kind of have the best of both worlds. You'll pull up some of that flavor onto the grilled corn, but still have kept it plenty moist while having it shucked and the silk soft so that it's easy to eat when it comes to the table. About 20 minutes on these. The other corn needs to be turned fairly frequently. This isn't something you can go ahead and leave for a long period of time. I would recommend that you do turn it, otherwise you get those sides that are burnt, which is generally what most people want to happen. What's going to happen is that the sugar in the corn is going to start to ooze out and it's going to start to caramelize. So you expect it to get kind of brown, but you don't want it to get black.
We hope you enjoyed this video. It's part of our OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. You can also find more recent videos on our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.